almost iconic here in Cage Warriors. Ian Garry working out the optimum for Garry Minor. I think that's a question that he asks himself every time he looks at the picture of the Cage Warriors welterweight title. I mean, if you believe everything that Ian Garry says, that's practically his already. Dan, is there any chance that this young man is overconfident, if anything?
Well, it's always a possibility, but you don't get very far with a lack of confidence in this sport. And when it comes to throwing punches, you need confidence to commit to those things. And Rostam Akman, we've got to bear in mind, he's come off 2 losses. He's been released from the UFC. That's not going to do wonders for his confidence. He's stepping in there against an undefeated fighter that's coming in with all of this confidence oozing out of him. I mean, that alone will put pressure on Rostam Akman because he knows he has to perform tonight. Gary's expected to perform.
We've seen him be nothing but successful here on facing his toughest test to date. There's no doubt about that. In addition to the 6-3 professional record for Rostam Akman, he's got a 14-2 amateur record. Dan said a lot of that came at the IMAF, so it's not just amateur experience, it's experience at the highest level.
It's worldwide experience, basically what IMAF allows the amateurs to do is to gather on an international stage and compete against other fighters from other regions of the world that are as skilled and as talented and as prepared as they are. So that is a very, very harsh filtration system.
Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado Garry was the matchup that had the entire MMA world watching because this was never expected to be an ordinary welterweight fight. On one side was Islam Makhachev, the former lightweight champion who entered UFC 330 riding an incredible 16-fight winning streak and looking to make another major statement at 170 pounds. On the other was Ian Machado Garry, the tall and rangy Irish contender who believed his size, movement, striking, and fight IQ could finally solve the puzzle that so many elite fighters had struggled to figure out. The stakes could barely have been higher. Makhachev was putting the UFC welterweight championship on the line, while Garry was competing for the biggest opportunity of his career. As both fighters made their way toward the center of the octagon, the physical difference immediately became one of the main talking points. Garry possessed the height and reach advantage, allowing him to fight from long range, while Makhachev had spent years building one of the most advanced grappling games in MMA. The question was straightforward but incredibly difficult to answer. Could Garry keep the champion at the end of his punches and kicks for 5 rounds? Or would Islam eventually close the distance, pressure him against the cage, and drag him into the type of fight where Makhachev has historically been at his most dangerous? Garry understood that allowing Islam to establish his rhythm could quickly turn into a nightmare, while Islam knew that recklessly chasing a much taller opponent could leave him vulnerable to counters. That made the opening moments especially tense. Garry worked behind his long-range weapons, using constant movement and distance control to stop Islam from finding an easy entry.
Now, Islam does have the capabilities to get rid of Ian fast. I don't know that Ian has the capabilities to get rid of Islam fast. I do not believe, contrary to popular belief, contrary to my partners over at DraftKings who believe if Ian Garry is going to win, he's more likely to win by knockout than anything else, I don't agree. I believe he needs to win 3 rounds. I believe he can spot Islam too. And I believe we got to go to the cards. I think that is Garry's most likely way to win.
Every time Garry stepped forward, he had to remain aware of the possibility of a level change. And whenever Islam moved inside, Garry immediately had to think about the takedown threat. This was exactly the chess match fans had anticipated. Garry wanted to force Islam to fight at his preferred range, while Islam's objective was to erase that distance altogether. The first major battle came when Islam began searching for his grappling entries. Instead of rushing recklessly forward, Makhachev patiently worked to read Garry's footwork and timing. The champion knew that securing even one clean takedown could completely alter the fight. Garry, meanwhile, relied on his size and movement to make every exchange challenging. He couldn't afford to remain stationary because against a fighter with Islam's chain wrestling, a motionless target could quickly become a grounded opponent. But this was also where the real danger of Makhachev started to become obvious. Islam doesn't depend on a single takedown attempt. If the initial attack fails, he can flow into another position, change directions, attack the legs, secure a body lock, or drive his opponent toward the fence. That non-stop pressure forces opponents to deal with several threats simultaneously. Garry's job wasn't simply to stop one takedown. He had to survive the entire sequence without giving Islam the opening he was looking for. Once the fight moved into the clinch, the entire atmosphere shifted. The long-range striking battle disappeared, replaced by a physical struggle along the cage.
You're preparing for another Irishman yourself. What do you make of you as an opponent and kind of carrying on that rivalry between countries?
This is just like a regular opponent. I will try to catch him, take him down. Just what I did with my all opponents. Still, we have 2-0 now. It's gonna be 3-0.
Has Ian any different than your past opponent? He can make the fight slow if he wants to. What do you make of his skill set?
His skills, I just have to run in this camp too much because I have to follow him because he runs too much. I know his game plan. We always see his fight.
Charles Oliveira, he's trained.
Islam focused on maintaining control, while Garry worked to create space. Every little adjustment was important. A single underhook, a shift in head position, or a slight mistake with the hips could decide whether the next few moments would remain standing or end up on the canvas. For Garry, returning to open space was essential. His biggest advantages came when he had room to move and could utilize his reach. For Islam, however, the cage worked in his favor. By driving his opponent toward it, he could limit Garry's escape options and make his wrestling attacks much more effective.
Islam speaking about this fight where he called it the Timu version of McGregor versus Habib. He's talking about Garry being a runner.
I just have to run in this camp too much because I have to follow him because he runs too much,
So Islam almost trying to challenge his ego to make him fight the fight that would suit him. It's obviously smart on Islam's behalf because at the end of the day, this is gonna be a very difficult fight because through it all, right, Garry is a very big guy for the weight class, very tall.
This was precisely the type of battle everyone had expected before the fight. As the rounds went on, the physical and strategic demands became even more intense. Garry had to constantly control the distance while staying dangerous enough to prevent Islam from simply walking through his attacks. Islam, meanwhile, had to remain patient and conserve his energy rather than wasting it chasing an opponent who could move laterally and strike from long range. The fight gradually became less about producing one explosive moment and more about which fighter could establish his style across the full championship distance. The striking exchanges were just as intriguing because Garry had the tools to make Islam pay whenever the champion entered recklessly. His height and reach allowed him to attack from distances that many of Islam's previous opponents simply couldn't manage. Because of that, Islam had to disguise his entries, vary his attacks, and avoid becoming predictable. At the same time, Garry couldn't afford to get too comfortable because one poorly timed combination could give Islam the opening he needed to change levels underneath.